All right, so let's begin. So once again, I'm Suganthan, the product expert of Zoho Survey with over a decade of experience. I personally take care of pre-sales and support for my team and have been with the team right from the start. So have been with various scenarios where our customers come and have seen a number of surveys. So I have much better understanding in terms of the survey question types and what are the ways you can utilize the most out of it. That's what we'll be covering out today. So there are some minor tweaks that could be done to make the survey more efficient. So in order to get the most out of it, we'll see what are those options available. So to start with, uh, Zoho Survey, it's a one-stop solution to build your own customized surveys. Zoho Survey is suitable for any kind of business purposes. It could be a customer satisfaction survey to understand your customers, or it could be to understand the employee satisfactions within your organizations, or it could be a 360-degree feedback surveys, and so on. So you belong to any industry, any sector, it doesn't matter. Surveys are always there to understand and uh, improve the learnings out of it. So the more the data you get, the better the insights you can gain out of it. So the quality data is what matters, with which we'll be able to take quality insights. So what are the things that could be done in order to improve the responses rate, or how efficiently you can uh, cater the surveys out of it? So you can force your respondents to answer a specific question of your survey to make sure that they answer it. So by marking a question as mandatory, you can make sure they answer a particular question type over there. So I'll share my screen where I'll show you the real-time uh, options that needs to be done to enable questions as mandatory. So we'll have this presentation in a way like we'll look into the slide as well as into the actual surveys side by side so that we don't miss anything during this session. All right. So this is one of the survey which I had already built, and this survey has all the question types available in it. So we have like 30 different types of questions to choose from. So every question is almost being used over here. So we'll be digging deep into what are the options available over here. So to start with, forcing responses, that is ensuring mandatory answers to critical questions. So when was the last date you visited our cafe? So this is very important for a person who's about to understand their customers, like when was the last time, so that if it was quite too long back, then what are the reasons that they haven't come back again? So in order to know this, you can mark it as mandatory by enabling this checkbox so they don't skip this question. By marking it as mandatory, you get a red asterisk symbol. So that's for your reference, and this is all been displayed back to the respondents as well. So they know that they have to answer this question. But if in case they skip this question and try to click on next or submit button at the end of the page, then they'll come up with the error message like to answer this question. And followed by the formatting and the rich text editors. So with the rich text editor, with every single question type, we give you a variety of options. So you can select the content over here and make it bold, italics, or underline. And you can in fact play with the size of the fonts individually per question as well. You can also insert links or unlink it. Meanwhile, you can also insert images or even embed a video as part of your questionnaire. So these are some of the options that is available in terms of rich text editor. But what if in case you're going to copy paste the content from a third party source and you're going to paste it over here? Maybe let's say you have some content published on your website and you'd like to have the same content as part of your introduction. So instead of typing it manually every single time, you decided to copy and paste the content. So the problem with copy paste is you see the difference in the font over here. It doesn't go well with other fonts added in the survey form. This happens because the formatting is also being carried forwarded when we copy and paste the content from other sources. So in order to avoid all these formatting errors, you need to select this entire content and click on the clear formatting button. That will be available in the rich text editor for every single question type, and just click on it once. So this completely removes the formatting associated with it, and it will be aligned with other question types over here. The next would be the question hints. So we design the surveys in such a way that people start answering it. But what if in case the question itself is a bit complicated and you want to give them some hints or some more better clarity on it? Maybe not everyone is able to get it right the way they look at it. So you need to give them some additional points to it. So in order to do that, get into the question and just scroll down. You'll have advanced options. Under advanced options, you'll have the question hint. If you enable this, you can frame a content for it. Something like, please select only one answer and click on save. So once you add a hint to a question, you'll find a eye kind of icon. I'll just show it in the preview. So this symbol represents a hint. So anyone is going to click on this, the content that has been displayed or the content that has been passed will be displayed over here. So this is question hint. And the survey is what you create in Zoho Survey. It's fully compatible on all the devices on which the respondents are trying to answer it. So you don't need to worry about which device they may use. So this is a desktop view, and this is a tablet view, and this will be a mobile view. So it is auto compatible depending on the size of the screen. All right, moving forward. Now we'll look into the type of questions that is available and what are the options that is available with specific to each of the question types. To start with, we have MCQ, that is a multiple choice question, as well as a drop down choices. So on the left, now we'll categorize the questions into categories. So multiple choice, one answer, multiple choice, many answer. Now this is a one answer question type. I'm able to tell that as one answer because it comes up with a radio button. So it's a one answer choice. If in case, if it's a many answer question type, you'll have a checkbox. So people will be able to select more than one answer. Now, what are the options available? Let's get into this. Click on the advanced options drop down. Now you'll have varieties of options. So in what way the choices needs to be displayed? Is it vertical one column, two columns, three columns, or you want it to be shown horizontally? So you decide the column the way it needs to look like. And then you can in fact change the order of the choices for every single respondent to make sure you don't get biased responses when the answers are in a specific orders. And you can also mark a particular option as exclusive. So this is more relevant if you're going to have, let's say the question is, please check all the specific coffee drinks that you like. And you had mentioned some of these. And what if in case you also mention like none of the above? So over here, if someone choose none of the above, then it doesn't make sense for them to choose other options. So I'll use none of the above as marked as exclusive. So if someone chooses none of the above, they'll not be able to choose any other options. All these will be hidden by default. And similarly, you can also enable add comments field. So by default, they'll have the option to leave a comment as part of the answer to this multiple choice question. And question hint is just something what we saw. Like you can add some hint as part of the question, and then you can click on save. We'll cover this bit later regarding pre-populate. And this is a multiple choice many answer. Whereas with multiple choice one answer, you have the same set of options, but the only difference is they can choose only one answer choice. And with many answer, it will be more than one. Now, what if in case you created a survey with one answer choice by mistake, but you wanted it to be as many answer? So you can directly questions and the formats it needs to be, because we don't give you this flexibility once the survey is published. So published in sense like we are just going to create a unique link to it. We are not going to launch it to our audience. But before you even publish it, try to make all the changes that is actually required. Because once the survey is published and it's been rolled out to the audience, people will start answering the survey. And if in case you're going to make any changes during that particular time frame, then the respondents who were answering your survey, they'll be forced to re-answer the survey right from the start. So it creates inconvenience to your respondents. And very specific to surveys, they are most likely to abandon your survey instead of restarting it. All right. So moving forward, we were looking into the multiple choice and drop down choices. And drop down is this particular question. So we have the same thing. So if you want the choices to be listed by default, you can go with a multiple choice. Or if you want the choices to be listed as a drop down, use a drop down question type, and you can enter the choices over here. So a drop down is more commonly used when you have more number of choices. For reference, let's say, please select your state. So there could be many states for a specific country. So instead of listing every single state using multiple choice, it's better to have it in a drop down to save space when someone is answering the survey. So from a respondent's point of view, it's everything is psychological. So if they find the surveys to be way too lengthy, then they may abandon the survey rather than completing it. So have the right question types depending on the answer choice. So if in case you're going to force the respondents to answer the question for a many answer choice, it could be a drop down or a multiple choice. We give you the option like they have to choose at least one or more than one, or you can even have conditions like at most. So at most five, so they can't exceed by selecting more than five choices for this particular question. Similarly, exactly or in between one and five. So you have the flexibility to decide how many choices they have to select it. If in case you're going to keep it in this way, make sure you have the right error message that's been displayed. Something like, please select a maximum of five choices. So if someone is going to select more than five, and if the error message remains to be like this question is mandatory, then they'll not be able to submit the survey, and the message will be like the question is mandatory even though they had answered the surveys. Make sure you correct the error messages depending on the conditions that you set, and click on save. And then comes the image selection question type. So with the image selection, we give you the option to add images as answer choices. So people can directly select the images as part of the answer, and then it is easy for identifying what they're looking at. Now, this is more towards which image suits better for our company logo. So Coffee and Mugs is the brand, and these are some of the images. So what if in case someone chooses, now this question, I had like four different options, but I want them to select just top two for reference. So in order to do that, I'll select exactly to save. Now, beyond this, I want to come up with a rating question to rate that top two. Now, in order to do that, what I have to do is I have to carry forward the choice from my previous question. That is, if this question answered images. So whatever image I chose in my previous question, that will be pre-filled automatically depending on my answer choices. And the representations will be like stars, or maybe I want to have custom shapes, I can still do that. So custom shapes, I can upload that from my system. And what is the number of stars that needs to be have? Is it 5 star, 10 star? It's up to you. And click on save. So this condition will be executed depending on the answer choice of my previous question. Let me quickly give you a preview for better understanding. So if I select this particular question, depending on my answer choices, only these two have been carried forward over here, and I'll be able to leave a rating. So this is to come up with the right questions or the right choices depending on their answers to your surveys. The next one would be the rating choices. Now, with regards to rating questions, we have few options available. One is a rating scale. The other would be a star rating. NPS is a net promoter score, and a slider scale. So this will be a rating scale 1 to 5. With the rating scale question, we give you two options. One will be a Likert scale. The other would be a weighted choice. With the Likert scale, you can label the least and the highest, that is 1 and 5 or 1 and 10. I mean, depends how you want to keep it. So if it's 1 and 5 for reference, you can only label 1 and 5 over here, like highly dissatisfied and highly satisfied. But if in case you want to label every single options over here, go with weighted scale. And then you can go with the predefined choices as well, something like this, and click on save. So every single label has been answered. But what if in case you don't want to show the rating behind that, like -2, -1? We have options in representations like smileys. So you can choose a smiley of your choice. So that is replaced with those numbers automatically. So this is a rating scale. And with the rating scale again, if you just scroll down, you have complete customization in terms of the size. Either it should be small, medium, or large. And similarly, the order of the ratings can also be changed. That is 1 to 5 or 5 to 1. You decide on the orders that needs to be displayed for every single respondent. And then add a comment field if that is applicable. And pre-populate is something which we'll cover a bit later. And this is again a rating scale question with a weighted choice. And this is a star rating. With the star rating question type, you have the advanced options, something like add comment fields. So more or less the advanced features will be similar for all the question type. So since we are here, I'll show you what pre-populate answers is. With pre-populate, we give you two options. One is a initial value. So initial value is like by default, if you want to mark 10 as the default value, then when someone is answering the survey, it will be selected 10 out of 10 by default. Only if they want to they want to reduce the score to 5 or 6, then they can click on it to reduce the rating from 10 to 5 or 10 to 6. So this is something used on many aspects. This is for a rating scale, but what if in case it's for a different question type? For reference, let's say you want someone to select the first image by default. So you can just go here and click on this pre-fill. I'm sorry, not applicable for this particular question. So if you want someone to have strongly agree by default. Then, depending on the options that you give them, that will be predefined. So like this, the pre-populate will work with the help of initial value. But if in case you want to dynamically change the values that needs to be pre-populated, then with the help of URL parameter, it can be done. For reference, URL parameter could be something like, now this is a NPS question. So referral could be my code. So what I need to do is I need to pass the value referral is equal to 10 along with the survey URL. So the value 10 will be pre-filled. If I'm going to pass on 6, then 6 will be automatically pre-filled. So that's how the URL parameter works. Maybe I'll show that exactly how to achieve that by passing on the actual URL once I launch the survey. Because once I launch it, I'll not be able to switch between the question types easily. So I'll just wait for some time to show you the URL parameter. And we also had the option to restrict editing the pre-populated answer. If in case you're pre-populating some value and you don't want your audience to make changes to it, then on that case, you can enable this feature so that they don't make changes to your survey form. All right. We are running a bit out of time, so I'll quickly cover the remaining set of questions. So we were looking into the rating questions, and the options are available in terms like you can either have it like numbers, smileys, or custom images, and so on. And very specifically to the NPS question, so this is an NPS question. So we'll give you the net promoter score by default for all your NPS question. And similarly for all the rating questions like rating scale, star rating, or slider, we give you the average rating as well within the reports. So it's easy for you to analyze a data with the average rating for all responses put together. Next would be the Boolean question. So Boolean question is something very interesting in terms of the types of questions we offer. Now, every single question over here, either it could be a multiple choice or open-end question. Now it comes up with some kind of answers, but Boolean is something where it doesn't require technically answer. It's just to say like a yes or no. So this is a Boolean question, like a small toggle in it. So do you have a voucher that can redeem at our cafe? So they can just enable this toggle as yes or no. Or similarly, like, do you agree to the terms and conditions? Or if you want it like a checkbox, a single checkbox, so you can use a Boolean text. So if you wonder like what questions are being used, maybe you forgot what it is, just click on the question. You'll have the exact question type on the top, so you can have a clear look at it. And between the toggle buttons, you can have the messages or the labels as well. And similarly, you can even force every single question as mandatory, but we don't recommend that by default if you're going to target your customers. But again, it depends on the type of surveys you may use. So the on off value, is it a yes or a no? And something like that, you can decide. This is a toggle bar and this is a checkbox. So you have the display format between a toggle and a checkbox, and you can decide on it. So this is a Boolean type. And then we have the image selection that is also been discussed earlier. And we'll move forward to the open-end questions. Now we have these many types of questions to choose from. So with open-end questions, we have short answers, long answers, numbers, email, full name, contact, multiple text box, and so on. So there are many options available, but each of this question comes up or serves a different purpose to it. For reference, so here comes a first name, last name. You can use a full name text box. This serves the purpose of having the first name and last name. So it can capture these information sideways. So if in case you're going to use a short answer, then you're going to have like a first name in a separate question, another short name for last name, one below the other, which may not go well with the survey form. So you can use a first name, last name. Similarly, you can use an email address question. Now with the email address question, we are going to validate the format of the answer. to make sure that they enter a valid email address. Whereas with the short answer, we'll not be able to do that. So there are few plus and minus depending on the question types that you use. But if in case you're going to use a short answer, then we also give you some options, that is like validations. So if in case you want them to enter a 10-digit numeric value, then you can match that condition using a custom script that is a regex value. So you can enter the validate option over here and choose custom and enter the 10-digit regex code over here, so that the answers will be restricted to exactly 10 numeric values over here. So where do you get those regex? You can just go search it online, like 10-digit numeric value. You'll come up with suggestions on it. You can just copy paste and give it a try to make sure it works fine for you. So the 10-digit regex code is this, just for your reference. I'll post it on the chat if you need it. And in terms of the validation, we have many more, not just the custom functionality. We also can validate in terms of the length, or it's only text, or a phone number for the US region specifically, US postal code, state, and so on. So these are some of the predefined validations. And beyond this, if you need, you can use a custom code as well. And this is a drop-down question again. And this is a signature question type. A signature is like you can ask them to digitally sign it quickly over here. And if you want them to enter their name as well as part of the signature, then enable this. So it comes up with a small box just below that where they can enter their own name over here. And we also support file upload question. So this is something like they can upload images or documents as part of the answers. And this file upload question will support up to 5 different files in a single question type. So you can have the options like exactly, in between, less than or equal to, and so on. And you can also restrict the type of files it needs to be. By default, we don't have any restrictions. But if in case you just want them to upload images, you can still do that. Or custom validations, just enter the format of the file that needs to be. For reference, HCIE. So if there is any format related to this, only that kind of images will be, or that kind of documents will be supported over here. And the maximum size of the file will be 10 MB per file. If in case your requirement is to have 20 different files to be uploaded by your respondents, please use the file upload question 4 times, where it can accept up to 5 files in a single question type. There is no restrictions on the number of files that could be uploaded or the storage limit. You can have any number of files being uploaded as part of the answer. So this is all about the question types, like how well you can utilize it, and what are the features available in it. Now, beyond this, we have logics. Logics, in sense, we have 2 options. One is a page logic, and the other would be a question logic. A question logic, in sense, for reference, let's say you have a rating question, like rate your satisfaction level with your food and beverage quality. So if someone gives you a negative rating, you would like to understand what went wrong. So you can have a long answer question type added just below that and ask for it like, please explain how we could improve. And add a condition like display this question only if a certain condition is met. Now the condition is if that previous question, if the rating scale question is less than, okay, I mean, that's a different question, I guess. Rate your okay, if the value is less than, let's say 3, then show this particular question. So this question will come up only when someone gives you neutral, disagree, or strongly disagree. So this is question logic. Similarly, you can have multiple pages in your surveys as well. There's no limitations on the number of pages. So if you want to have different questions depending on answer choice, for reference, let's say you have a question like, how did you hear about coffee and mugs? So you could have different questions depending on the answer choices. You can have questions related to internet search on page 2, online ads for page 3, referrals on page 4. So you can redirect them to the right pages depending on the answer choices as well, and then end the survey after they answer the specific page. So to add a logic, page logic, you can click on the logic on the top and choose page skip logic and add a condition. That is, if a particular question is equal to, let's say, coffee, then skip to page 2. So only when you have multiple pages, you'll have the page 2, page 3 options available over here. And with the page skip logic, you also have the options to randomize your questions orders. So this is again relevant if you're targeting like a test kind of thing, where you don't want um, people to look into each other's while answering the survey. So you can easily shuffle the order of all your questions or specific questions as well. So maybe you have 30 different questions in your survey. So change the order for the selected questions alone. So you can just select these questions, and only these 5, 6 questions will be shuffled between each of them. So this is all about the logics over here, and the pre-fill options were also covered. And in terms of the compliance requirements, Zoho Survey is HIPAA and GDPR compliant. So you can, in fact, encrypt the open-end answers of your questions as well. For reference, you are collecting some sensitive informations, like let's say patient informations or so on. So you can get into a short answer question, something like this, and enable the encrypt answer to make sure the data that has been entered by the respondent, where we save in the database, we encrypt it and then we store it in the database. But once you enable this encryption, if you're looking to apply any kind of filters out of it in the reports, it cannot be achieved because the data is encrypted. We cannot decrypt to show it in the report, show it in the filters. That's the only negative when you encrypt the data. But for any kind of personal information or sensitive information you're looking to collect, make sure you encrypt the data in terms of the privacy. So that's the end of this session. So a quick recap in sense, like, you can have small minute features available for every single question type. It could be forcing the respondent to answer a specific question, or what needs to be answered in terms like a multiple choice or a rating scale or a matrix choice and so on. So depending on the question types and the purpose of the survey, you can design a survey very effectively and just show or hide the right questions. So with the help of logics, with the help of relevant carry forward choices, you can make your respondents stick to your survey when they start till they end the survey, to make sure you get the most out of it. And with regards to surveys, there's nothing like this is the right number of questions, or this is the right number of pages you can have, or this is the right number of time you can allocate for every respondent to ask questions. It purely depends on your purpose. If you're rewarding your customers, irrespective of the number of questions, they'll be happy to answer it. If you're not rewarding your customers, then it depends on what they get beyond rewards. So there could be some catches or some twists where you are trying to know more about or improve your businesses continuously, but try to get more responses, to get better insights by reaching out to your audience in wider channels. It could be via emails, SMS, social medias, and so on. So try creating surveys to the best out of it and reach out to your audience for better results. Please do follow us on social medias, like Facebook, Twitter. We are available on all the platforms. So you can follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and so on, so that the next webinars on what topics we are looking to host, we'll be publishing it over there if in case we miss to invite you. All right. Thank you. Thanks a lot for your time. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.